Hello, Facebook family. How are you tonight? This is day 2 of my 3-day live stream series called Your Optimum Life Now. My name is Shola Ezokoli. I am a physician coach. I help busy physicians defeat and prevent burnout, as well as create options for themselves outside of traditional medicine. These options include fun, freedom, autonomy, and multiple streams of income. And I do this through life, career, and or business coaching, depending on what you need. So I'm going to share this to my group. Give me 1 second over here. Okay. Share to group. There we go. So I'm just going to jump right in. If you're watching this on replay, you can type #replay. I am going to post in the comments a link where you can book a call with me as we go through the topic. Give me 1 second. I don't know, my connection is slow. Let me go right ahead. So now, when it comes to toxic work environments, a lot of doctors and non-doctors find ourselves in toxic work environments. And it's usually no fault of ours, unless it is. And I'm going to talk about that a bit later. Now, because of the pandemic, there's a hiring freeze. Doctors are losing jobs. It's a bit precarious to where maybe you're not able to find a job as quickly as you could before the pandemic. But there are some things I'd like to share with you about being in a toxic environment, being able to handle that while you plot your exit strategy. So the thing about being in a toxic environment is the fact that you need to plot your exit strategy sooner rather than later. Okay, but while you're dealing with that, what do you do, right? So being in a toxic environment is very bad for your health. It's bad for your health and wellness. It's not just, oh, well, I don't like it here. It actually does something to you. I remember when I was practicing outpatient, there were 3 organizations, and I'm not going to mention their names at all, whose patients frequently developed mental illness related to work stress. And I could almost tell when they started talking about their symptoms, I could pick 3 organizations and it would be one of them. Yeah, in this city where I live. And like I said, I'm not going to tell you what the organizations are. I don't want to get sued by anybody. Anyway, so being in a toxic work environment really does something. It does something to your health. It does something to your psyche, and it can be dangerous. So you want to be in a place where you're plotting your exit strategy as you go along. Because being in a toxic environment, number one, you never feel you're good enough. Right? You never feel you're good enough because of the constant gaslighting. You're constantly plagued with imposter syndrome. Like you feel like a fraud. You never feel good enough because you're being gaslighted and micromanaged, probably. And that makes you play small. Another thing being in a toxic environment does to you is that it makes you feel like it makes you feel like you're not good enough to get another job. And it's not true, because more likely than not, the next job you're going to go to will probably be better because you'd have learned some lessons that will keep you, make you be on the lookout for a better job rather than a worse job and be able to avoid the red flags. So that feeling of, oh, nobody will want me, I can't get another job, it's not true. It's a product of being in a toxic environment. Being in a toxic work environment makes you lack confidence in your abilities. So again, back to, who's going to hire me? Where can I go next? Where will I go next? All these things are a product of being in a toxic work environment. You start to become small-minded regarding the world at large. It's like you start to see the world through the eyes of this environment that you're working in, and it's very, very damaging to your psyche. You stop trusting yourself. You start to second guess yourself. Being in a toxic environment, work or otherwise, is very, very damaging. And the truth is that as you plot your exit strategy and as you leave, you're going to have to learn some new mindsets so that you don't take their toxicity as baggage, because as time goes up, of course, you put up walls, right? So, you don't want to get to a place where now you're going to, thank you, you're going to you're going to go to a nice new place, and now you're going to become the toxic worker because you've put up all these walls. Your insecurities are, all over the place, and you don't really know how to relate in a place where people are actually nice. So what you want to keep in mind is that, hey, how are you? Hi, Angel. You're just as good as anyone else, right? If somebody hired you to do something, it means you're good at that job. And it is likely that you will find another similar person to or organization to hire you to do the same job, right? That's just, science, or, well, common sense, right? So you're good, you're okay, but if you're working in a toxic work environment, it's very hard to keep that at the front and center of your mind, because one of the things that's done to us when we're in toxic environments is that they make us feel it's our fault. And that's why I said, I think the title is Dear Doctor, It's Not Your Fault. There's nothing wrong with you. Now, remember, another thing to remember that's very valuable is that you don't lack talent and you don't lack wisdom. If you can get one job, you can get another. If you are gifted in certain things, if you're a doctor, if you can get a job in one hospital, you can get a job in another. You might have to wait till the hiring freeze is over. You might have to, explore other options. You might have to take up locums. There are options, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Remember this, you have options. The minute you remember that you have options, and if you're a doctor, remember there is actually a physician's shortage. Yeah, doctors are losing jobs and there's a physician shortage. Somebody make that make sense. Make it make sense, because I can't. Remember, you have options. You're not just an employee, you're a doctor, you have options. Now, it's okay to want certain things from a job. Now, here's the thing. No job is perfect, okay? So there's some things you're going to have to take with some things, and there's some things that are sort of the price of admission for, doing certain jobs, right? For example, if you're a doctor and you work in a hospital, you're probably going to be on call. You're probably not going to leave the hospital at the end of your 12-hour shift, right? Thanks, Candice. Probably not going to leave the hospital at the end of your 12-hour shifts. That's not toxicity. That's just what comes with being a doctor. But, there may be certain things you want to see done in a job. You might want to have a job where you have access to mentoring or research or something, and it's okay to want what you want. Okay? For me, with this whole journey of being a doctor, one of the biggest things I realize about myself is this: I'm not a behind-the-scenes person. I get so bored. That's why I can come on here and do live streams. That's why I can walk up to any stranger on the street and say hello without any, I'm not shy. I like to be, out front and center. And it took me a long time to tell myself there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the way you are. There are people who love to be behind the scenes. And it's fine too. There's space for everybody in the world. So look, I'm not a behind the scenes person. So if I'm in this room prescribing things to one patient, and there was a time I wanted to do some outreach type stuff in one of the organizations I work for, and they shut it down and all of that. And I was like, man, this would be so good. I would love to, go to different places and talk about the stuff we do and, kind of patient recruitment stuff. And in subsequent jobs, I've always tried to get on some type of marketing team, or, hey, you guys go out to do things. I want to go out and do things, right? Because I'm not a behind the scenes person, and that's just the way it is. Now, you don't necessarily have to prove. If you can do your job, just do your job. Toxic work environments they micromanage you and make you feel you have to prove more and more and more and more, almost like prove to us all the time why you should be here, right? So, that's, one of the things you have to remember, that, if you're constantly being asked to prove yourself, then the environment is probably very, very toxic. Now, here's something I want you to remember, whether you're a doctor or not. No job, no person has the key to your purpose and your destiny. If you can believe that, doors will open for you. No purpose. How? It's no. My destiny cannot possibly be in the hands of one person, one organization, one job. That would be a huge, terrible, cosmic joke. And I'm going to keep looking for what I want until I find it. Instead of going, oh my God, I'm so scared of being fired all the time. Then, it's like, yeah. And I understand the fact that we need security, certainty. We want to be able to get up and go to a job and know that, okay, you get a paycheck and whatnot. But there's a way that thinking can become so paralyzing that you start to think that particular job is the be all and the end all of everything that exists for you. And it's just not the case. You just have to open your eyes and start looking around to see the opportunities that are available. Okay. So I just like to pause here and say that if you feel you need help of a coach, there is I'm going to post the link right now. 1 second. I'm doing this on another device. So give me a second over here. So if you want to work with me as a coach, you can book a free strategy call and I'm posting the link right now, where we will talk. Then you can decide, okay, this is what I want to do. Can you help me? That's the conversation. The conversation is we talk. You ask me questions. I ask you questions. If I can help you, then I can tell you, yes, I can help you. If I can't, I'll say, no, I can't help you with this thing you're trying to do. However, I can refer you to XYZ person. Okay, so that's what that call is about. It's a free call. You can book, get on my calendar, and what have you. Because these are some of the things I help my clients with. I mean, every single physician client I've had has been like, do you like your job? No. If the answer is no, let's start plotting your exit strategy. And while plotting your exit strategy, walk you through so that you don't get your name dinged, so that you don't so they don't fire you, right? It's better for you to go than for you to be fired, so that you walk that fine line until you are ready to go. If it means being, because the thing about dealing with toxic work environments is that you have to be diplomatic and you have to be political. Yes, I teach people how to do that. It's like, oh, well, she's so straightforward. She can't be political. When I work with my clients, we come up with some amazing strategies. I've had clients where toxic bosses have given them high recommendations. I've had clients where people have just backed off persecuting them. I've had clients, really move forward and get that next job and that next thing and be able to step up and do, or if they have to stay in that job, carve out such a niche for themselves that they're in a place where they're happy. So definitely, that's why I say I do life, career, and business coaching for physicians, because we're composite beings. We have a life, we have careers, and some of us do have businesses. So now I am going to talk to you about specific things you can do when dealing with toxic work environments. Number 1, don't internalize the baggage that tells you it's your fault. Things go wrong and you're blamed. If you're a Black woman and you're watching this, you felt it. You've seen others go scot-free while excessive blame is dumped on you for the same thing. And it's like, wait. I've seen it so much that it's not, if people don't believe you, that's their problem, but your experience, right? So it's difficult not to internalize their baggage, but don't internalize their baggage. Don't internalize their baggage, okay? It's very important. If you have to write something on your laptop, a sticky note that said, it's not me, it's them, do it. Or else you will suffer from a crisis of confidence. So when it even comes time for you to step up and go into that next job, it'll be like, me, because you'd have been so beaten down. Being in a toxic work environment is like being in an abusive relationship, because it's emotionally and mentally, and in some cases physically abusive, because when you start getting those illnesses, mental illnesses, which can lead to all kinds of chronic pain and Physical illnesses can lead to mental illnesses. Mental illnesses can lead to physical illnesses. So yes, it's very bad for your health. So don't internalize their baggage. Number 2, plot your exit strategy. The minute you start to see the writing on the wall, don't wait. Don't wait for somebody to come and walk you off the premises. I remember my first job out of residency. I saw the handwriting on the wall the minute they appointed a bully for a medical director. I was like, I need to get out of here. And lo and behold, boom, they started cutting people. But the minute they appointed this individual, I started going for interviews. So by the time I started seeing the handwriting on the wall and the threats started coming my way, not only threats, there was attempts to make me practice outside of my license and do certain things that were not within my purview to do. The minute I saw that, I'd already got my new job. The first thing they fired, so there were a group of us who were like friends. They started firing my friends. So when you see the handwriting on the wall, start to plot your exit strategy. Don't wait until someone says, vacate the premises, here's your pink slip. The minute you see the writing on the wall, you know that somewhere a graffiti artist got away with it. There you go. Plot your exit strategy early. Don't wait. It's like, well, I don't know. By the time you start to have, you see, we know about wisdom. We have wisdom, we have experience, we have knowledge. But sometimes we haven't learned to trust our intuition. Sometimes something tells you like, something ain't right here. Something ain't right. Start to plot your exit strategy. Start to talk to the recruiters. Because here's the thing, getting a new job takes time. You're not going to be like, well, hey, I'm out here, I'm looking for a new job. No, getting a new job is like a whole project. I had a client once who we plotted a reasonable exit strategy for him, and it was going to take 2 years for him to find the job you want, get everything in order. So plot your exit strategy as soon as you start to see the handwriting on the wall. And now if you turn out to be wrong, you can always back up. You can always, you can turn down jobs before you sign a contract if things improve. But please start to plot your exit strategy as soon as you can. Play the long game. Start to look for locums. You're a doctor. Start to brush up your licenses. Start to get licenses in other states if you're in the US. Number 3, while you're there, do the best you can to change what you can that's in your sphere of influence. Now, one person against the system doesn't always win. One person against the system. You're usually up against the big system. Even if you sue, it's a long, drawn-out process. So change what you can. So because some of your work environment is toxic, doesn't mean you get to just phone it in and act the way you're being treated. When they go low, we go high. And you should still go high because you maintain your own integrity and not become that very thing that is, don't become the thing you don't want to be because of the way other people are behaving. Still do your best while you're there to influence what you can in your sphere. Trying to take on the whole system might be just setting yourself up for disaster. Because these systems are more powerful than we are, right? Number 4, don't use doctor mentality to try to change things. What do I mean by doctor mentality? Thank you for asking. Doctor mentality is so as a doctor, right, you come in, you see a patient, you take a history, do a physical, make a diagnosis, order tests, order treatments. Organizational change is not like that. You will may have to have meetings upon meetings, so any kind of change you're trying to push forth. Sometimes what happens is doctors come in with that, like I said, doctor mentality, like this is a problem, this is the history, this is the physical, this is the diagnosis, and this is the treatment, and we're smart people. So yes, we have good strategies, but here's the thing. When you have this behemoth of an organization, You just come across as disruptive when you try to be like, yes, this is what we need to do. Da, 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 da. Hey, I'm the doctor. I know. I treat patients. It's not about what you say. It's about what gets listened to. So before you get labeled as disruptive for no reason, pick your battles. Realize that organizational change is slow. And that leads me to the next point. Assemble your allies. When you're dealing with a toxic work environment, you need your allies around you. You need people who will have your back. You need to be careful. You need to know who's an ally and who is not. I remember once a nurse reported me for something I didn't even do. So the next time I saw her come into my office, I looked at her, I said, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to have any conversation with you without a witness. And I smiled. And she was like, oh, but doc, I'm sorry, I'm not going to have any conversation with you without a witness. It's like, I'm not going to have, so she went and she got her boss to come and talk to me. Yes. Because I'm not going to have you've already proven that this is your character. I'm not going to just have you and me so that you can go back and say whatever you want. I'm not going to speak to you without a witness. Assemble your allies and know who they are. Because those people might have to speak for you if things start to go south. Number 5. Have a cutoff time in which you will stop dealing with work issues. And this works for a lot of my clients. Here's something we do. And like I said, when you work with me, we go through the strategy. Okay, this is what you're going to do every day. This is what you're going to do. I've even had situations with my clients where we're like, okay, you're going for a meeting about what? This is what you're going to say when you go there. And after the meeting, we debrief. It's like, okay, what happened? This and that. And then we make a plan for the next thing. Because if you're in a toxic work environment, it's a case of anything you say can and will be used against you, not in a court of law. Go figure. So have a cutoff time where you'll stop dealing with work issues. And why am I holding this? I have clients have some kind of symbol for when they leave work. So if it's a cheap piece of jewelry, like, okay, once I'm done with work, I'm going to take this off. I'm going to put it down and I'm going to leave. It's symbolic of I'm leaving this behind for now. I will pick it up in the morning. Because what can happen is that you start to ruminate and ruminate and ruminate and ruminate. Then the toxic work environment follows you home. And now you're at home and you're miserable. Instead of you going home and being like, well, I'm home now, we leave that behind. Have some kind of symbol of something you leave behind. Some people have work shoes. Some people have a hat or whatever it is. Something maybe you use at work. Something that's symbolic of, you know what, this is the cutoff time. I'm going home now. So that you're consciously making a decision to close not just the physical door, but the mental door. Have a cutoff time where you stop dealing with work issues, even if it's just a few hours a day, or else it will ruin your life. It will ruin your life. Remember what I said in the beginning about 3 organizations in this town of mine? I can almost smell their workers a mile off. I'm like, okay, do you work for this, or this? And it's usually one of the 3. They have a reputation for being extremely toxic. And they're very big organizations, so they're big employers. Go figure. Have a cutoff time where you stop dealing with work issues. Don't let it take over your life. Your life is more than work. Number 6, have a meaningful pursuit outside of work and goals for that pursuit. So for example, it could be, I'm going to watch something on Netflix, or, I'm going to do some gardening and I'm going to plant some tulips in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to plant some tulips. So now, when you're out of work, you're thinking about the tulips you're going to plant. Okay, we're going to go buy the bulbs and whatever. And yeah, you can tell I'm not really a gardener. Or if you want, maybe you're going to start a blog. Or maybe whatever. I don't care what it is. but set some meaningful goals around a pursuit outside of work so that at the very least you have something you're looking forward to every day that's making you happy. It's important for you to do something every day that makes you happy. Whether you're a man or a woman, it's very important. You exist to do more than just pay bills and die. There's more to you. There's more to life than being a workhorse. Ask my hubby about gardening. Yeah, he's into that. During the summer, we don't even buy a single tomato because our garden produces. They work the garden, I eat. The universe is balanced. Have a meaningful pursuit outside of work. Your life does not consist of work only. But honestly, the truth is that when you're in a toxic work environment, it's hard to see that. It's hard to, be positive. It's hard not to let it take over the rest of your life, but you owe it to yourself not to. And people say, well, it's more easily said than done. This person said this, and they're threatening to fire me, etc., etc. If someone is threatening to fire you, thinking about it or not thinking about it is not going to make them not fire you or fire you. Why not just turn your mind for a few hours to your garden or your blog or whatever and be happy in those moments? You exist to do more than just pay bills and die. Last but not the least, number 7, work on creating multiple, or is that number 8? I don't know. Work on creating multiple streams of income so that you have options. If the world has shown us anything, and it's so funny, I've been having conversations like this with my friends for the last 10 years. The world has changed. We're not in the generation where you worked in a place for 30 years, you retired at 65 or whatever on a pension, and they took care of you for the rest of your life. Pensions basically don't even exist anymore. They have a 401ks. I mean, those things, I don't know, can they sustain anybody? By the time our so-called retirement, we get to retirement age, which will probably be 80, there's going to be nothing, maybe there'll be nothing left in the 401k. And by then, we'll probably be living to 150 anyway. So it ain't going to be enough money. Create multiple streams of income, including passive streams of income, so that you have options in life. You always have to have options in life. I told myself this when I was 17 years old. I must have options in life. I cannot put all my eggs in one basket. The best time to have options was 10 years ago. The next best time is start now. Start to look and see, okay, what can I do besides this job? Is there anything I can do? And, the live stream is giving you tips and, pointers to use and ways to think about things differently. But when I work one-on-one with you, that's where the fun comes in. And I'm going to post this link again so that if you do want to get on my calendar and have a chat, we can do that. We can absolutely do that. And I will be very happy to recommend some things and, and go from there. It's so important nowadays for you to have additional streams of income because, the pandemic has shown us, as you say in Nigeria, has shown us pepe, meaning pepper. You get pepper in your eyes, you know what that is? Very bad. The pandemic has shown us that the things we used to rely on have all come crumbling down, and we have to. Now, creating the life you want is not just some pie in the sky luxury thing. You have to, because ain't nobody coming to create it for you or take care of you. And as employers have more and more power and less loyalty, they're going to become more and more toxic. Because, like they say, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's the truth. So, maybe you've never had a coach before, and you're like, what do I need a coach for? Can't I just finagle this by myself? If you could, you would. But here's the thing. We don't coach people who are on the bench. We coach people who are already playing the game. I don't want to coach you if you want me to do everything. Shoot, I can find a job for you. But I will talk you through, hold you accountable, plan some strategies that actually work. So coaching is not about giving you advice, but it's about creating solutions for you that will work specifically for you in your area in whatever it is you're trying to deal with. So do yourself a favor and book a call and see if my coaching is right for you. Plus, this year, I'm giving a lot of free stuff to my clients. A lot. My group programs are all going to be free. My video course is going to be free. They're going to get my book, master classes. Basically, if you work with me as a private client, because I do have programs coming up and you can avail yourself of those. You work with me as a private client, you get everything as long as we're working together, whatever new master class or whatever that I come up with, you get that for absolutely free. So it's a very good deal. I don't see anyone else offering the same thing. I didn't offer this last year, but now I'm, working to add more value to my clients. So, one more thing to add. I don't only work with physicians, okay? I am a physician coach, but come on. I mean, what's the likelihood that, how do I put this? What's the likelihood that we're all not dealing with the same things, right? Life, career, business. I may not know your industry specifically, but you do. And we can create solutions that will work for you in that industry. So, what are you waiting for? Like I said, book a call with me. Get on my calendar. I have some spots available over the next 10 days. So we can get on the phone and talk. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about, what am I going to be talking about tomorrow? Launching your next stream of income. And so I'll be back here tomorrow talking about that. And again, inviting you to book a call. And if you decide, you don't even want to wait till tomorrow, you just want to book a call, you want to work with me, let's do it. You can book a call. If you don't find any time that works, send me a DM. All right, ladies and gentlemen, good night. I will see you tomorrow. I do have to go on now because I have a client in a few minutes. So have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And don't forget, when it comes to toxic work environments, it's not you, it's them. Have a good night.